For decades, the richest people in America were begging this man to take their money. Celebrities, banks, Holocaust charities, entire pension funds. They handed over billions because Bernie Madoff delivered something nobody else on Wall Street could. Consistent, perfect returns every single year, no matter what the market did. And nobody asked how. Then on December 10th, 2008, his two sons walked into a federal building in Manhattan and told investigators their father had just confessed something to them. The whole thing, every dollar, every statement, every return, was a lie. $65 billion gone. The man behind the curtain. Bernie Madoff started his investment firm in 1960 with $5,000 he'd saved from working as a lifeguard and installing sprinkler systems. That part was actually true. He built a legitimate trading operation on Wall Street and became a respected figure. He helped develop electronic trading systems, served as chairman of NASDAQ, and was considered one of the most connected people in American finance. So when Madoff offered people the chance to invest with him privately through a separate advisory business, nobody thought twice. He had the resume, he had the reputation, and most importantly, he had the results. His investors weren't getting rich overnight. That was part of the trick. Madoff didn't promise 40% returns or some ridiculous number that would raise red flags. He promised steady, reliable gains, 10 to 12% year after year, regardless of whether the market was up or down. And for a long time, that was enough to keep everyone comfortable, too comfortable to ask the obvious question. How? The scheme explained. The answer is embarrassingly simple. Madoff wasn't investing anyone's money. Not in stocks, not in bonds, not in anything. When a new client handed over $1 million, that money went into a single Chase Manhattan bank account. When an older client wanted to withdraw, Madoff paid them with the new client's money. That's it. That's the whole scheme. It's called a Ponzi scheme, named after Charles Ponzi, who ran a similar scam in the 1920s. The concept is ancient, but Madoff pulled it off at a scale nobody had ever seen before because he understood something critical about human psychology. People don't investigate things that are working. Every month, Madoff's team printed fake trading confirmations and fake account statements. They showed carefully constructed portfolios with real stock names and real trade dates, all reverse engineered after the fact. His back office would look at what the market actually did, then generate fake records showing trades that would have produced exactly the returns he'd promised. The operation employed a small, tightly controlled team working on a separate floor of Madoff's office building. The legitimate trading business operated upstairs. The fraud lived downstairs, and almost nobody was allowed to move between the two. But here's what kept the scheme running for so long. Madoff was selective about who he let in. He didn't advertise. He didn't cold call. He made people feel like they were getting access to an exclusive club. Country clubs, synagogues, charity circles. Word of mouth did all the work, and when people feel lucky to be included, they don't ask uncomfortable questions. The red flags. Nobody wanted to see. The thing is, people did try to raise the alarm. One person in particular tried for almost a decade. Harry Markopolos was a financial analyst from Boston who first looked at Madoff's numbers in 1999. Within 5 minutes, he said later, he knew something was wrong. The returns were too consistent. The strategy Madoff claimed to use couldn't mathematically produce those results. Markopolos ran the numbers every way he could think of, and none of them added up. So he went to the SEC. He filed a detailed complaint in 2000, then again in 2001. then again in 2005, with a report titled, "The World's Largest Hedge Fund is a Fraud." 21 pages. Specific, documented, mathematical. The SEC looked into it twice. Both times they found nothing. Not because there was nothing to find, but because their investigators didn't understand the math, didn't subpoena the right records, and frankly, Madoff was too important. He was a former NASDAQ chairman. He sat on SEC advisory committees. Accusing him felt unthinkable. Markopolos later described it as screaming into a void. He was so afraid of retaliation that he refused to fly on small planes and started checking his car for tampering. Meanwhile, a handful of sophisticated investors also had doubts. Some fund managers refused to invest with Madoff because they couldn't replicate his strategy. A few journalists raised questions, but nobody with real authority connected the dots. The scheme kept running until the entire financial system did what Madoff's fund never did. It crashed. The collapse. The financial crisis of 2008 did what no investigator could. It scared people into wanting their money back. In the fall of 2008, Madoff's clients started requesting withdrawals. Not unusual on its own, but this time, it was everyone at once. Madoff needed roughly $7 billion to cover the requests, and he didn't have it. He never had it. For the first time in nearly 20 years, the math didn't work. There wasn't enough new money coming in to pay the people trying to get out. The Ponzi scheme's one fatal weakness is that it requires a constant flow of new investors, and a global financial panic is exactly the moment that flow dries up. On December 10th, 2008, Madoff called his two sons, Mark and Andrew, to his apartment. According to their account, he told them the investment advisory business was all just one big lie. He described it as a Ponzi scheme worth approximately $65 billion. The next morning, Mark and Andrew Madoff contacted a lawyer. That lawyer called the FBI. Within 24 hours, federal agents showed up at Madoff's penthouse on the Upper East Side. When they told him they were there to investigate, he reportedly said, "There is no innocent explanation." He was arrested in his bathrobe. The aftermath. The damage was staggering. Roughly 37,000 victims across 136 countries. Charities that had entrusted their entire endowments to Madoff were wiped out overnight. Elie Wiesel's foundation, dedicated to Holocaust remembrance, lost everything. Steven Spielberg's charity was hit. Individual retirees who thought they had secure nest eggs discovered those nest eggs never existed. In March 2009, Madoff pleaded guilty to 11 federal charges. He was sentenced to 150 years in prison, the maximum allowed. The judge called it extraordinarily evil, but the sentencing didn't end the tragedy. The fallout consumed Madoff's own family. His son, Mark, who had turned him in, was found dead by suicide in his apartment on December 11th, 2010, exactly 2 years to the day after his father's arrest. His other son, Andrew, died of cancer in 2014 at the age of 48. Madoff's wife, Ruth, gave up nearly everything in a forfeiture agreement and became estranged from what remained of the family. Madoff himself died in federal prison in April 2021 at age 82. Meanwhile, a court-appointed trustee named Irving Picard spent over a decade clawing back money from investors who had, knowingly or unknowingly, profited from the scheme. As of the most recent reports, he's recovered over $14 billion for victims. That's a remarkable amount, but it still represents only a fraction of what was lost. The lesson. The Madoff case exposed something uncomfortable about the financial system. The SEC had the evidence and failed to act. Banks processed billions in suspicious transactions without flagging them, and thousands of intelligent, wealthy, experienced people handed over their life savings without ever verifying that a single trade had been made. The biggest fraud in American history didn't work because Madoff was a genius. It worked because people wanted to believe the returns were real, and nobody wanted to be the one to question them. If you want to see how another Wall Street firm convinced the world they were untouchable before everything collapsed, that video is on screen now. Subscribe if you want more breakdowns like this one.